Technion, and has a few other important roles as well. With an academic background in sociology and anthropology and a postdoctoral degree from Hebrew University and studies at Columbia University, Meriav brings a truly interdisciplinary lens to her work, which often bridges social science, urban theory, and cutting-edge technological innovation. So we're very pleased to have her in the City Futures Sydney Analytics Lab today. So in her talk today, she'll be looking at social topographies, leveraging advanced technologies to reimagine social landscapes. She'll be exploring how emerging technologies can move beyond infrastructure management to meaningfully engaging with social challenges in urban environments, drawing on the work from her lab. She'll take us through both the theoretical and practical frameworks that inform the creation of social digital twins, which I look forward to hearing more about, participatory planning tools, and innovative physical space. So we're very thrilled to have Meriav present to us today. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for having me today. It's a huge privilege and I'm really excited to be here. I have a lot to share, so let's jump in, okay? In the heart of any social urban sociology effort, there is the effort to learn and explore urbanism. What urbanism is really about? Urbanism is the ongoing exploration of how social fabric and physical fabric are interconnected and how people build cities and cities build people. It is not intuitive and very not easy to do. Because when you go in a city, within a city, it's one back. Yeah, okay. You can turn the music off. Okay, never mind. When you go within the city the sociology revealed to you. The sociology appeared. You can see the laundry, you can see the name of the street, you can see the material. Sociology is all there. And you, as a person that walk within the city, you immerse yourself within sociology. But what happens when we meet the traditional way of decision-making in planning? Very often, it's about papers, it's about statistics, it's about graphs. Around the planning decision-making table, there are economics, landscape, architectures, and from time to time, there are the sociologists writing social impact assessment, 50, 60 years old. It is a pages report that nobody read. And if somebody read, they don't really know how to embed it within the planning process. And even after we had this digital a revolution that we are developing a planning support system. In those digital tools, also, there's no society as a vital, as a kicking, as a live culture and systems. Digital tools mainly focus on disposal, transportation, etc. Those physical elements in space when it's easy to quantify and to measure. And this is my main pitch or my main idea. Sociologists and anthropologists from the beginning of the disciplines research rituals, research performance. We can go to the Mardi Gras in New Orleans, we can go to ceremonies, we can go to every birthday celebration and to investigate this performance. And through this exploration of these rituals, we can learn the patterns of the people, how they feel, what they acknowledge, what's really important to them, what are their values, etc. And my idea is to do the same, like the opposite side. What does it mean? I want to create sociology that perform. And in that way, to help people to reveal the anthropological layer of society, the cultural layer of society, mainly the way people give meaning to things. So if I want to create sociology that performs, sociology that appears exactly like the city, I need to create a stage. And I see my lab as a kind of a stage. The idea of urban innovation lab is there for the last, Chris, what to say, 10, 15 years, right? And the thing that characterize them, that they have a space and they have a place. And the place is kind of a stage, okay? The things that those labs bring, they reshape academia to be kind of project-based learning and to create bridges with organizations, NGOs outside the campus. But if you want to really create a collaboration, we need to move from written words to visual literacy or interactive literacy. And this is how I see my lab. It's a kind of a translation box that the person that go in and change the way they know the world around them. We really fell in love with the idea of sandboxes. We dive in, we learn what their benefits, why they're good for. They was established back in the ancient times. And then in the early 90s, as long as I understand, the Canadian Army was the first to digitize the idea of sandboxes. And in blue, you can see around all the benefits that the digital age are giving to this idea of digital sandbox. At the same time, as I said before, visualization is very important to us, but it's not just a visualization, it's about critical visualization. We stem a lot from Du Bois' work that states that the problem of the 20th century is the problem of color line. And here another quote of him saying, generating new patterns and knowledge through the act of visualization. That means that we want to create visualization that really shake people's minds, that reopen their mind, that bring them to think in a different way about the data or about the social urban situation we bring to the table. Many sociologists that deals with digital sociology criticize those ideas of innovation in urban context. They say this is about corporates, again, doing money, harming privacy, using in data, in social data, or in intimate data for the benefit of themselves, focusing only on physical dimension, etc., etc. My opinion is opposite. I think that working with planning support systems, working with digital tools, increase the ability to create critical thinking. And why so? Because of those two components. One, because scalability. Our ability to scale up or to scale down and create a different context in which the phenomena that we investigate is interpreted and became clear. So understanding phenomena in different scale, it means that we higher the level of context that we give to this phenomena. The other idea is local knowledge. Due to technology, it's very easy to us to open surveys via phones, and then we can learn from society. We can ask questions. Maybe the government or other people, the municipality, don't really want to ask, but we can ask them in a direct way and to enrich the digital twin in local knowledge. And the other idea is coming from Clifford Geertz notion of thick description. We can create thick mapping. The digital age enables us to work and to face big data. And this allows us to understand phenomena within rich context. And the idea of thick description and thick mapping stand in the heart of our work. So let me take you to the first step that we conduct. I won a 1 million shekel grant that enabled me to form a team and to build a lab. And this is how my lab looked like. we try to create an immersive space. Remember, we want to create an immersive experience while looking at or being within a social digital. So the Q wall and the big projection, they're all important to us in order to create a sense of immersion. And then we have the table in the middle. It's exactly like here. It's about touching and it's about exploring through senses. But at the same time, we believe that the idea that there is a table, that people can gather around the table, create an interaction. And the way I learned is thanks to interaction. Exactly as I showed before when we discussed the ancient way of using sandboxes. Okay, so it's about visualization, it's about immersion, sorry, and it's about interaction. We work in academia. I discussed it before with Chris. We believe in applied science. We want to do things in the real world with impact, real stakeholders. But at the same time, we are part of academia and we are obligated to create cutting edge kind of basic research. So the lab is designed to do the both mission. It's a place that people can act, but at the same time, here in this wall, we have cameras and recording machine, so we can record everything and analyze and create a focus group and analyze the thing that happened. So in one hand, we act, and in the other way, we are the fly on the wall, watching on ourselves and analyze the achievement or the not achievement, the thing that we miss. So this is our pitch or a statement regarding applied science. It's about efficiency, it's about sustainability, it's about urban development, and it's about the benefit of society. But I want to say some more things about the basic science kinds of pitch. I really moved by the idea of social cartography. I moved by the idea of critical cartography. I stem a lot from the idea of digital humanities, where researchers believe that we need to bring together the humanities and the digital computational world and to explore one with each other. My lab is very small place, but its function is first, of course, research and development sites, and then teaching. We are teaching their classes. It's studio and art, and maybe the thing that I proud most is became a civic assembly. The council of the neighborhood get a key to my lab. They can enter, they can use it, etc. And they really like it, and they trust it again and again. I was very proud of this function. We are doing, we call it last mile, first mile project. We are going through do the gathering, cleaning, normalizing data, and then creating the right mathematical model, specializing the data, visualizing it, and bringing it to this stage for discussion. Like a year ago, I won another kind of grant that enabled me to rebuild my lab. This time in the campus. The other lab was like a living lab. It was within the neighborhood that we research, and this gave me the ability to be part of a centers of labs that was established in our faculty. And actually, this is my room as it is today, the space that I have. I'm really proud to say that there are people here that research AI, that research morphology of building, etc., etc. And then there is a lab of the sociologists and anthropologists. So how my new lab will look like, I want to take the good things in the other vision of my lab, which is the visual and the interaction, etc. But it's the old lab was very small, and people can can do it one way of discussion. And now I have the ability to create a lab like a studio, like a very creative place where my students can invent things like this, or this, or this, or this. To invent, to imagine situation to explore social within cities. So this is how I hope my lab will look like. You see the big projection wall, you see the table, the center table. I have a lot to say about this. Maybe you can ask me later, and wish me good luck. And this is another lab is a space, lab is a digital infrastructure, but lab is mainly people. So you can see the team that formulate my lab at the moment. You can see there are people from economy, architecture, landscape architecture, geoinformation, mathematics, and a lot of art going on in my lab. And to conclude this part of my lab, I want to say something that we learn from the projection, from the reflection that we conduct. People that were part of my lab with the stakeholders, you can stop the video, please. You can stop it. Thank you. No, but I want, okay. Just to stop the video. How to keep it silent. Thank you. The thing that we learned, people that was part of our process are people that social worker, community worker, community workers that really know the neighborhood very well. And while gathering and constructing the social digital twin, they always say something like, there is one sentence that they say, and when we subscribe everything, we see it again and again, and we circle it again and again. I knew it. Actually, I didn't know it. I knew that it's like that, but I didn't know how much it's like that. And I think there is a very interesting research question that arose from our reflexive process, that is how people know the world around them, how being within the digital twin make them to know, not only to know, but maybe to feel. And do we know the things around us better when it's in the combination of knowing and feeling? And what does it say about us trying to bring data to be accessible for decision makers? So those are kind of questions I learned we need to ask. This guy, Dr. Hamoudi Said, is the head of community relations within Haifa municipality. As in the interview here, he said he really liked the lab, he feel like the wall, give him a hug, he feels safe, he feel proud because they suffer from digital gaps. And so he always feel bad to invite people to his office. So very often he said to people that he need to host, let's meet in the lab, because he was proud to be part of it. And in this, can you help me switch?
Want to go to the next slide?
Yes, thank you so much. In the next slide, you can QR the paper that we wrote that documents the process that I just shared with you. So we have a stage. We have a lab. This is the stage, and now we need to formulate a language to formulate a syntax. The language that we develop in our lab, we call it social topography. Can you have it? And I want to explain what social topography is about and then to show something. Social topography is a moment where sociologists come to geographers and say that the surface won't be the height of level of the sea. It will reflect social indicator. It can be socioeconomic status, it can be a poverty rate, it can be unemployment, it can be bad remarks in school, whatever you choose to reflect. And then we set up the surface as the social indicator tell us to do it. And then we, as you see in a moment, did or raised the different neighborhoods thanks to their data. So in a minute, you see those happy green mountains. Those are the schools that do good. And then you can see those neighborhoods going again green and happy up. Those are the neighborhoods that do good. Those are the poor neighborhood of the city. And those are the schools that have bad performance. And thanks to this 3D experience, we can dive down and then climb up to see the data of other school, the neighboring school, etc. So, and here you can see in the north part of the city, a new housing project, which of urban regeneration. Here we analyze how far kids can go safely from school, and we discovered there is no safe way to go to school around this new project, which they have hundreds of housing units. So instead of creating a social impact assessment of 50 pages long that nobody reads, here we can do something completely else. We can bring the knowledge to be visual, to be data-driven, to be embedded within the city space that everybody familiar and everybody understands. So we create this notion of social topography. It was very successful. So we know that somebody wrote about social topography in the past, and we really found that Gaston Bardet, French planner, in 51, he published a book. The name of the book was Social Topography. The thing that Bardet said that we can create social profile, sociological profiles for this different city due to different social economic categories. And then you've got different shapes of cities. And then you can characterize it and you can analyze it and you can offer a better planning regarding those cities. The other person that we find out that used the idea of social topography is the famous sociologist Pierre Bourdieu. Pierre Bourdieu noted that sociology is about social topography because it involves segmentation and hierarchy. And think about it, the social topography that we created reflect those two ideas. And again, we conclude this investigation in this paper that you can QR and find your way in. People that came to the lab and saw the idea of social topography, say, okay, now it's very nice, but what it's good for? And together with my colleagues and friend, Dr. David Berg, he is an expert in applied mathematics, we came with the next idea. We took an area in Israel where there is a major city and around it small settlements, and we create social topography of this area. And then we create a matrix that reflect the social and geographical distance from each settlement to the big city that we concentrate on. And this way we can measure how sharp is the slope. Okay, and then we go to the city and we take the crime table from the police and we analyze who are the people that conduct crime in this city. 70% of the people that conduct crime are from this city, but the other percent, 27%, we analyzed where they came from. And we find out something very interesting that people that come to conduct crime in the big city are people that come from nearby a settlement that have the sharpest slope. That's mean in geographical terms, they are very nearby. In social terms, they are very distant. And I think that it's very
They also
nice.
happen to be Arab.
Sorry?
They also happen to be from Arab villages, predominantly looking at the map,
Yes.
but the graph,
this
is that correct?
Yes, this is the area of Kfar Saba, which is nearby to the West Bank. So yes. And we conclude this with this paper that again can dive in if we want to learn more. And now we have stage, we have syntax, and what is the play? What the play is about? Our main idea is the idea of social digital twin, and I will show you through a case study of Shkunat Tikva. It's a neighborhood in Tel Aviv, in the south of Tel Aviv, that was established in 1936 by Mizrahi Jews. That means Jews that come into Israel from Iraq and Germany. When we built the idea of social digital twin, it was obvious that we need to decide on the scale in which we code the data. When we work on Haifa, we work on the idea of social BIM, as I will show shortly. That means that we inject the data in the scale of one building. The data was anonymized. That means that you couldn't say which floor, the name or ID or something like that, but you can see the data in the scale of a building. You obviously will ask me how come, privacy issue, etc. We did it in the years of Corona. It was very important to us to help the welfare department, which have a digital gap, enormous digital gap, to really recognize and reach out old people and helping them. But we decided not to do it in the other project of Tel Aviv. So we said we have the apartment, we have the building, we have the statistical area, neighborhood in the city, and we reshaped the idea of blocks. That means that we framed 100 people area, so you can't really keep privacy of people, but we still can create a micro-sociologist attitude. It is important to us to know that we always work with the public and steam information from the public around questions that they found interesting. And again, okay, this is what I wanted to show. This is a short video that presents our work on social digital twin. Okay, this is boring technology 15 years ago. We colored area, statistical area, different neighborhoods thanks to colors. But then we can see that we try to start to work with the 3D technology and to inject data in the building level. So in green, that all buildings that they have old people, and then old people with disability, all people that are lonely, all people that are lonely that live nearby the stairs because this neighborhood has sharp topography, etc., etc. Those buildings are buildings that have one neighbor that took in charge to knock on the old people doors and to ask how are them and to be in charge. And here you can see that we can touch the building, and then we have a card of information about the sociology of the building, 2 single moms, 1 poor old man, etc., etc. And we conclude this work in this paper. So we have a stage, we have a syntax, we have a play, who's the cast. I can talk about it for hours because it was the most moving and important thing. We realized that we can develop beautiful things, but it can still be kind of white elephant that nobody know how to use. So we understand that together with our stakeholder, we need to co-produce the co-production process. So together with them, we develop a protocol of how the people, the social workers, the community people can work within the neighborhood. And I'm jumping first here. And again, we published this work in this paper. And I want to say something about the reflection that I found very interesting. In those kinds of urban labs like you, like us, we are talking a lot about decision-making and decision makers. I think we need to go deeper to understand theory of decision-making and what the theory of decision-making is about, because the thing that we learn is that nobody wants really to take decisions. There are very high-profile people from the municipality that often come and we said, if we will show him or that, this or that information, data analysis, etc., thing will be happening. And then in the reflection process, we saw something interesting. Everybody told us in the end of the meeting, we have to bring this or that person. We have to show the data to this or that person. So we understand that nobody really wants to take responsibility and say, this is on my table, and this is what I want to decide, thanks to the thing that you just show us, something like this. So I use here a phase of sociology, very famous sociologist. His name is Amitai Etzioni, that speak about the myth of decision making, and he developed a new theory of decision making. He called it the humble decision making, and he wrote this theory in the early late 80s, arguing that we have too much information, so decision making is not possible. So imagine what he was writing if he was living today. And I conclude one more project, and then I conclude. I know that you're doing a lot regarding housing, so I want to share this project with you. Our case study here was Roosevelt Island in New York. Roosevelt Island has a lot of affordable housing by contract. That means that in the near future, all the houses that are going to go out to market rate because those agreement of affordability is about to expire. And we try to analyze, thanks to time, on time level, and thanks to lean on 2D mapping of the housing project, how demography will change in the island, under which condition, over which time, and how it will be changed in terms of income, in terms of age, etc. So I really like this interface because imagine you can use it around the table and you can ask questions. Here you can see you can choose social category like income, age, etc. And here you can see the tipping point, the specific time and circumstances that under them the upper class will be the majority population in the island. So this is kind of interface I'm really proud of and really like, because everybody speak about gentrification, but we offer here a data-driven tool that really help us understand how it goes. And again, we publish this paper to report our findings. So bringing all together, I really I wasn't sure what to show you, to how this all orchestra work together, how this all sociological show perform, and I choose this project. This is a new project of us we build the digital twin of Tel Aviv, and we really want to challenge ourselves not only with social issue, but with hard social issue that characterize the global south kind of agenda: undocumented workers, refugees, illegal construction, to go to neighborhood that is off the books and try to analyze it through data and digital twin. So the thing that we understand here, that in order to understand the neighborhood, we have to create not only social digital twin, but cultural digital twin, mapping through and with historical map that help us understand why, the origins of the problems of the neighborhood. This is again the Tikva neighborhood. So we start with a very basic analysis for urban sociologies, population size, number of housing unit, age pyramid, etc. And we understand that the thing that characterizes this neighborhood, that is about the growth. It's about, you see that there is negative growth in terms of population, no growth in terms of housing, and the neighborhood is going on. And when we deepen our analysis, we understand that when we check out the welfare families, they characterized by the fact that they live in very, very small unit apartment, like 30-meter apartment. So we understood that 30-meter apartment can be kind of a clue to a broader social phenomenon. So I'm jumping in about the theory of urban regeneration. I will say that the research question was, what is the fourth generation of development in neighborhood of the urban south? And can analysis based on advanced technology and help us understand this. And here we use an algorithm. I collaborate here with my colleague and friend, and we use an algorithm. Its name is WizY. I will be happy to share the information about this algorithm with you. And we create a big data table. I'm talking about 400 columns of data that are normalized, clean it, etc. And then we can run and to ask different questions. So this is the outcome of our analysis, and I try to explain it. First, we found out that it's characterized by low percentage of married people, a lot of lonely people, with high divorce rate, okay, and high percentage of old people, so people that go divorced and became old. The other thing that we learn, thanks to this algorithm, is that in blocks with high percentage of apartment owners and also high percentage of men. That means that a lot of those apartments are male is the house is the resident and is the owner of this property. But if women are there, they are not the owner. They live there. They rent the apartment, or they're under other kinds of agreement. And those small apartment is in correlation with reports of people calling the municipality and saying there is a problem there, a lot of noise, there are crowded places, etc. And you know, a lot of time we said, okay, we did AI, we did this, but what have we learned and how it's influenced our theory? So we all know this triangle. Here we have the urban development, urban renewal. We know the notion of illegal construction, and we know that the mechanism of renewal is privatization, I go to a contract with the urban developer and I can regeneration the home that I live in. But the housing market in this area is under Musha. It means that a lot of people on especially on concrete territory, and there is no idea who belong to exactly which place in this territory. This is why the neighborhood cannot be developed, because there is no privatization of your house unit. Okay? And the housing market is fragile with small unit of ownership and demography, about poor only people and undocumented migration. And when you see the connection between the two, thanks to the fact that there is no illegal construction and and there is no chance for privatization, all the refugees or many refugees from Tel Aviv and from Africa that come to Israel and live in Tel Aviv come to this neighborhood. A lot of poor, lonely people live in these small, very small units, and this musha, this informality in the registration is against this privatization. This we all know. But the things that we learn is that this neighborhood is not under the growth or the development. There is other development of the books. The people that own those apartments split them and split them and split them and get advantage, the very difficult situation that refugees face. They have no other choice. They took this small apartment. And the thing that we see that the first generation of the people that build this neighborhood are the neighborhood keepers. They are the people that saw before they stick. But the second generation, after their parents pass away, doing a self-mobilization, splitting those apartments, rents it to refugees and undocumented people, and they doing mobilization and moving to other places. So I think this is offer us a new theory of self-organization of the book's development that the AI help us to see, help us to see those clues and to get the picture together. I will end by showing you an artwork that we conducted. And it was those days that you get a bell from Venice Biennale saying, we heard a lot about your work, and maybe you want to present your work with us. Of course, I want to present our work. And we decided to take the idea of, or the findings of around going to age in time of crisis, lonely people that died alone in their houses during the years of Corona. We use the metaphor of lonely star. Each lonely person that died alone in the house is like a star that falls, and we create this work. Can you help me?
Expand it.
So this is how the neighborhood looks like. In Venice, it was a huge wall. It was 10 meters. These are all the buildings. Now you see buildings with all the residents, all the people. And now you can see people with disability, all people with disability. Now houses where people died alone. And all those stars that you see here is our AI result regarding vulnerability for loneliness. We create a matrix of indicators, and then all big point is where there is vulnerability for loneliness. And then we want to say something about the sense of community. All these points are daycares for old people. They came, they spend time there, eating lunch, learning something, and go home. And each dot is a person that go to these houses. And we really want to say something about kindness and about community and about how the constellations of star is holding the star, this lonely star, not to fall. I decided to end my meeting here with you with this because I truly believe in data art and in art as a way to explore how we can create a sociological show. How can we represent sociology thanks to art and creativity? And I think that I will be happy to open the floor for questions.
The social digital twins, where does the data come from? Is it individual data or block data or building data? Come from census or other sources?
Thank you for the question. The thing that we did, we were in collaboration with Haifa municipality, and they gave us the property tax or the municipal tax table of them. So every row, it was in household that we have a lot of information. Thanks to that, we were able to inject the data in the scale of a building. What we did, there is a lot of policy around discounts. If you are a single mom, you have a discount. If you're an old person, you have a discount. And then we could gather those discounts into social categories, and in this way, we managed to learn who are the people living there in terms of sociological indicators.
Thank you.
Actually, on the same thing, it was really interesting and great examples. But the data on the building level, was that actually accessible only to the lab members during session of engagement? And assuming it was not available elsewhere, is it the case? Or?
Yes, it was very unregular, and it was thanks to the fact that we worked during the corona, and the municipality really need the collaboration with us. I think if it was not under kind of emergency situation, they wouldn't give us the data in this way. It is important for me to note that we go through all the ethical permission, ethical committees, and we did work with the cyber people of the Technion. We gave the cyber protocol to the municipality. It was under a heavy regulation, and we did it by the book. When we worked with Tel Aviv, they asked us to fill out the privacy impact assessment that the EU launched 3 years ago, and we stand in all their criteria.
A great presentation. Just a couple of questions around the housing affordability. So I guess in Tel Aviv, how do you define housing affordability or affordable housing as that category? And how many years, because you were saying it was expiring, how many years is a property? I'm presuming a developer has to have a certain amount of affordable housing and then it expires after 15 or 20 years old.
The housing market of Roosevelt Island is fascinating because the island wasn't belong to the municipality of New York, but to the state. So the land was very, very cheap. So that become the place where they build a jail, a hospital for severe disease. You know, it's the island. You know, you are bigger. Everything you push to the island. And then in the 50s, there was the Marshall Act, if I remember correctly. They decided to build people for young people, young couples, affordable housing. I'm not sure. I think it was like around like 30 or 40 years to be expired.
Okay.
And there was many changes in the island. Cornell Tech established the campuses there, etc. So there was many changes there. The things that it took us like 2 years to work on it because it was very, very complicated to try to measure under which condition you displaced. If the mortgage is more than 30% of your salary, if the fee for managing the building is more than 18% of your salary, there is like different know-how that you know how to implement that.
Thanks for this. I guess my question is partly ethical and partly theoretical. On the ethical level, I'm really curious. Like I grew up in Israel, full disclosure, so I know very well that the ethical regulations in Israel are utterly different to Australia. We are in Australia like subject to far tighter ethical requirements. So I guess my question is twofold, not just like what kind of ethics sits above this at the practical level, but also at the kind of theoretical level. And what I mean here is, you showed videos of cities, like you're kind of, I wouldn't call it surveillance, but it looks a little bit like surveillance, like monitoring what's going on in the city, in the lab, for instance. That would be one example. And then the examples later of the kind of the buildings, which you stipulated happened under COVID context, which I understand is very different. And yet I don't think that would fly here. Like, I don't think you'd get permission to do that kind of work here on both of these examples. And I guess I wonder what is the ethics of the lab in the broader sense, not just in the practical sense. And I'm also noting that there's a lot of description, but I read the data and there is no power. Like where are the actual structural power dynamics that inform your data? Most of the data you showed around poverty or kind of remote social indicators, these are Palestinians. It's either Palestinians that are citizens of Israel or Palestinians that are in the West Bank. And it's stark. Like all of the data is replete with deep structural inequalities between Jews and noting you are a Jew, there are differences within Jewish communities, 100%. But also there are structural differences between Palestinians and Jews in Israel and broadly. And of course, we have to note that right in this moment, right? So I just wonder, like, what is the ethics and the agenda of doing this kind of work, and where does it sit in the broader context of what is happening in Israel, Palestine, which is like, I was going to ask about Gaza, I won't do it to you, but I just think like, yeah, it's obviously right there in your face, right?
What is your name?
Nama.
Nama, hi. Nice
Hello.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for raising this important questions. I will say like this. At the beginning, I wasn't so aware how problematic it is to work with social data. I just saw other kinds of research projects, like how much resources people put to analyze shadow. It's very important shadow, but there are people there, and we need to express their situation. They were right. And from project to project, I start to meet the questions that you just made, and I can show you two things. First, that it is in continuous conversation inside our team and with the regulation, and it is a conversation between us and the stakeholder that we collaborate with. And as I said, the fact that we work under emergency, and if you're familiar with Israeli culture, so you know how informally it is, and how in times of emergency, people are crossing all borders for good and for bad. So this is what happened. And the situation was that sometimes I got to the mail at the beginning of the project of Haifa, things that I just say all the time, everybody now delete, delete, delete. I don't want this information on our computers. So it was that dramatic, okay? Having said that, I want to ask you or to open up a conversation asking if there is extreme situations like we have in the corona time, that lonely old people are alone in their houses, should we appreciate more the value of privacy or the value of fairness? Think to imagine the situation that you now need to download an app, and he said, did you write the contract agreement? You say, yes, allow. You give everything because you need now something from this app. So we live in a world that the private sectors know everything about us, and then the welfare department know nothing about us. So this was the gap that I work within. And the surveys that we conducted among the old people in the neighborhood was amazing, because we alert the welfare in real time, saying in this old man, the people that knock on the door smells gas, you have to go. And the other person said for weeks nobody talked with him, and Shimon from Amidar never called, answered his phone in the last weeks. So it was a very dramatic decisions between actually life-saving and ethics regarding privacy, etc. So I don't have an answer. I just share with you the situations that we experience. So this is regarding your first question. Regarding your second question, of course you are right, but in this specific case of Hadar, you're completely wrong, because the residents of Hadar, those poor old people that I'm talking about, are people from former Soviet Union countries.
Yeah, I'm not, I lived in Haifa,
Jews.
I wasn't talking about Hadar, I was talking
No,
about
so
the.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
what we
Oh,
did.
okay.
They are all, or most of them, are Russian Jews that coming in the early 90s. And in Haifa, which is a mixed cities where there is a strong middle class of Palestinian citizens of Israel or Arab Israelis, as you want to call it, and Dr. Hamoudi Saidi is Arab. Huria, she is the manager of the old people, elderly department. She is, etc. So we work with collaboration. They are the people in office, and we work with very tight collaboration with them. So Haifa, I always say that Haifa is the future of Israel. And in terms of the sociological structure and the relation between Jews and Arabs. So in the big picture, you are right. In the particular picture, it's the opposite.
Maybe I'll just add one more point, as also someone who grew up in
Time, so I don't know all the time.
Yeah, no, questions online, but as someone also grew up in Israel, but that example of building is impressive. The only other example that I've seen to that detail was during COVID, when I was working with Professor Mary Louise, and then they actually had building level data. But again, it was for limited time and it for very specific tasks to really, and also in context, because in Hong Kong, a lot of the structure, the high buildings, and there was a need to do this. So sometimes it's for specific time or because of specific reason, like Hong Kong as well. But yeah, appreciate the answer.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Meriav, for your presentation today. And thank you to everyone here for joining us online and in person too. Just a quick reminder that our next seminar series will be held on Thursday, the 5th of June from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m, where we'll hear from Professor Doug Harris, who will present their research titled The Legal Architectures of Property and the City. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Meeting adjourned.